So here it is, April 17th. I am not the one. Let me just put these books up. These are the guys, these are the great gurus. I added a new one here from the great Patanjali about 2,000 years ago called the Yoga Aphorisms. How to Know God. Fabulous. Woo! Is it a strong book about the mind and anyway, fantastic book. Now, they're the ones that are saying how to get there. And they're describing many, many different paths. And I should have had Lord Buddha there because I'm going to bring up ideas from Lord Jesus, Lord Buddha, Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism, different types of Hinduism. And there's just this common thought and or method. And I hope you see it. And if you want to use that in your path, give it a try, see how it goes. Most of them all say the same. Do your meditation, prayers, read, study, do good for others, lead an ethical life. And the other part of it is continue to show up. As we call it, just show up. Um, so find your path and see if this thing helps you. You'll find there's a common denominator, which is, here you are, this is who you truly are. It doesn't matter which of these paths. But you have all these coverings, these, what they call them, habits, tendencies in the mind, in the body, and these cover up or create ignorance, and we lose sight of who we really are. So the more we can let those go or discover who we really are, we are released of their control. A lot of times they say you lose your ignorance and find out who you really are. So let's go right to it. Here's all these quotes. I think they're really, really cool. And I put them together. Let's just start with, uh, whoop, there we go. With the great Swami Vivekananda. And this was out of his book on the Bhagavad Gita. So here it starts. By this continuous reflex of good thoughts, good impressions, moving over the surface of the mind, the tendency for doing good becomes strong. And as a result, we feel able to control the indriyas, which are the sense organs and the nerve centers. So again, we're now getting back to the mind, the body. But see here, this continuous reflex of good thoughts, good impressions, moving over the surface of the mind. So keep putting those there in your meditation and your life, and the tendency for doing good becomes strong, and you gain a skill. The great Buddha, very similar in his four immeasurables, which are brought up in the last video. And he said, cultivate loving kindness, compassion, appreciative joy. Appreciative joy is when other people are feeling joy, you feel joy. And equanimity. And that will help you remove ill will, cruelty, jealousy, clinging, and aversion. Cultivate those qualities in life and in meditation. Very similar. The great Shankara, as the mind gradually becomes devoted to the Atman is the true self, it frees itself by degrees from cravings for the sense objects, those things that we're attached to that are controlling us. When it has rid itself entirely of all those cravings, the vision of the Atman is no longer obstructed. So we continue to think of consciousness, God. I see it as the same thing. All those great attributes like loving kindness, compassion. But you have to read it yourself to decide how that fits into the path. The great Lord Jesus, the great Sri Ramakrishna, they basically believe that bhakti love is the easiest or the greatest path. So love God, whether it's love Jesus, love Ramakrishna, love, I think George Harrison's personal deity was Krishna, Vishnu, the great Lakshmi. Love their attributes: truth, goodness, beauty, love, compassion, mercy, bliss. Love that. Isn't that very similar to loving kindness, compassion? Isn't that good thoughts and good impressions of the great Swami Vivekananda? Continue to do that, and you will feel better, and you will start acting and feeling more in control. The great Swami Sarvapriyananda, who I just absolutely adore, and he's around now. And one of the first videos I saw was him many, many years ago, and he talked about a great tool to use. And he said a great example or tool of a large, this is not a quote, but he told the story of a large clear vase or bowl filled with marbles, both black and white. And when you start meditating, kind of think about this. The black ones are painful or bad experiences. The white ones are good thoughts. So your mind is this vase or this bowl, and it's got black and white marbles in it. When we start meditating, do not be surprised as the black ones start arising. Grab it, but replace it with a good thought, a white marble, and let go of the black one. In time, you'll have many more white marbles in the jar or the mind. I did that many times. I thought it was really, really helpful. The great Patanjali, he was about 2,000 years ago, he talked about this exact same thing that Swami Sarvapriyananda was using his example of. And he defined painful waves, that he defined those as those that lead to ignorance, addiction, and bondage, whereas not painful thought or waves lead to freedom and knowledge. Knowledge, not book knowledge, spiritual knowledge. And he had this great line, the distinction between the two kinds of thought waves is very important when we come to the actual practice of the yoga discipline. For the thought waves, whoopsie, for the thought waves cannot be controlled all at once. First, we have to overcome the painful thought waves by raising waves which are not painful. Black rocks, white rocks. To our thoughts of anger, desire, and delusion, we must oppose those thoughts with love, generosity, and truth. There it is. Simple. And I think it is and it isn't, but it gets easier, and it to me greatly unites all the great religions, and it's kind of simple if you really look at it. Continue to do that. When I first read the great Swami Vivekananda, he said just in essence show up every day, meditate a couple times a day. And here are some great ideas. If you look up meditation, there's just thousands, it seems like, of methods, but there's a simplicity. And I'm not saying that that's what you should do. I'm just saying there's some ideas and thoughts on it that you might find helpful. And again, it gets back to my original comment that we then start gaining control. The mind starts and the body quits dictating our lives, and we start to discover who we really are. And we will find that we have more direction and control and joy and happiness. Yeah. So there you go. There it goes. Hope that works. I guess my last thought would be, give it a try. The great Swami Sarvapriyananda, another thing, when he gives talks, whether it's at various schools, universities, or at his ashram, and he always kind of jokes that somebody always raises their hand and says, well, I've tried for a month and I'm not enlightened. And Swami Sarvapriyananda always kind of laughs. Kind of, yep, you got to keep working at it. You got to keep working at it. But I do believe that these ideas work. So all I can say is give it a try and see what happens.